right, everybody. How we doing? All right. Questions? Just raise your hand. We'll get started. Marcus, get us going.
Maximus, 5 offensive rebounds, 12 overall. How did just doing those other things help get your offense started?
Before the game, Coach Caputo told me to crash all the offensive rebounds, and if I don't get it, just sprint back. So the coaching staff believed in me to grab them, and I got 5. So that's just trust within the coaching staff for real.
James, it seems like you have a knack for getting fouled on 3-point shots. Do you mind sharing your secret a little bit?
Just trying to use some of the defenders' aggressiveness against them. So they try to play me really aggressive and really tight. So just trying to use that to my advantage.
And how do you know you're such an electric scorer, but how do you know when to balance being as aggressive as you can and not being overly aggressive, because you do have a knack for being able to kind of know where you are in the flow of the game?
I think it's like you just said, just trying to be in the flow and kind of recognizing what type of game it is, how they defend me. Sometimes they put 2 on me, so it's easy to get off the ball. Just try to be aggressive every play, but just making a play in front of me, whether it be a pass or a shot.
Henry, go ahead.
James, on the other team tonight, Sessoms is one of the top scorers in the country. You're one of the top scorers in the country. Did you feel a little bit of extra motivation going into tonight, wanting to sort of outduel him, or?
Nah, not really the one-on-one battle, but like you say, he's a great player, so that was one of our main focuses coming into tonight, trying to stop him. He's a really good player, really talented. So,
Dave.
Max, you had one of your best games coming off the bench today. Do you feel different coming off the bench? Is a different mentality you have going in the game?
It's just another game, honestly. Coach still trusted me, he still put me in. I played a decent amount of minutes, so coming off the bench or starting, I just want to give it my all.
Yeah, so James, a lot of your scoring coming in the second half. Do you feel the momentum of the game as things carry, or do you think you just got hot at the right time?
I think it was a combination. A little bit get hot, but guys just finding me on the floor, being in the right spots at the right times, and then playing with really unselfish players that, when I'm open, they hit me. So, the combination of me getting shots, but also my teammates being really good at finding me in my spots.
James, congrats on today's incredible performance. What impact does a performance like this and the victory have on your team overall going forward?
It's big. Any game you are able to win is a huge win for me playing. So it's a great win for us. And definitely some good momentum going into the Hawaii trip. A lot of confidence from everybody in the locker room. So I'm great.
Any more for some Matthews, Henry?
Like you're kind of hinting at, there's some games coming up that are probably going to have lighter crowds, students on break, going to Hawaii, and it hasn't been perfect on the road so far. So what are you guys doing to improve on that moving forward and try to win some of these less friendly environment games?
I think it's just being really connected going into those environments, being banded together, and just trying to do the little things on the road. Shots might not be falling like they might here at home, but we do the little things, we'll be able to get those wins.
Last one.
Does a win against a team like South Carolina earlier in the season help instill confidence against an opponent like Washington State coming up? Do you feel like you can really match up?
Yeah, but I think we felt like that before. Coach Caputo always tells us that any game that you're able to win is really a big win. So definitely beating a team like that gives us confidence, but really any game we're able to win on the floor, we're happy.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Careful on your way out.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Like the shoes, Max.
Thank you.
Yeah, those were nice. I first want to know where David is and what final he's possibly studying for is more important than this.
Journalism.
Is that wrong?
Do you even have to take that class with all the stuff he does?
We'll make sure he gets that message.
Please.
On that note, we'll take an opening statement about the game.
Yeah. I was happy. First Coppin State, obviously very well coached by Juan Dixon, who is just a legend in this area. So great to have him in the building. You think about the schedule they have to play, and they play an incredibly difficult schedule, and they're very competitive almost every night out. Georgetown overtime. They had the lead the other night at halftime at East Carolina. The wear and tear, talk about travel and things like that. The wear and tear on those kids' bodies is tremendous with the amount of travel they have to do in the non-conference. So credit them for that. But I thought we did a good job on Sessoms in the first half. He's such a talented player, such a gifted, almost like effortless scorer. I thought, you know, we have to continue to get better defensively. That's no secret. But we kind of got the right stops when we needed them. And then, you know, as much as we could get out in transition, I thought it was good in the first half because we were bothered a little bit by the way they defend pick and roll. And again, without Hunter for us, you lose a playmaker, you know, against that type of coverage. So I thought we found some good things in the second half that, you know, kind of required us to think a little bit about what things we could do without playmaking at the 5. But we played some funky lineups, which is good for us because you get that experience of different guys playing different positions. And last, I would say, you know, again, Max was very, very good. I thought he was very tuned in immediately, right? He gets right in the game, gets a cut back to a cut layup, which we talked about, and he was very dominant on the glass, and then, you know, that allowed him to play very free of mind and a great game.
All right, questions? Mark, start us off.
11 turnovers in the first half. Second half, much different. Where was that?
A little
Where
bit
was that
about
switch?
what we did offensively. Probably I didn't do a good enough job. I have to watch it, right? But like, I'll take some blame for maybe not putting them in the right spots, spacing wise, to make good decisions. And they led to some. I told them at halftime. I said, if you're gonna, I was trying to have a little bit of fun with it. Like, I said, if you're gonna throw it away, like, do me a favor, take it and throw it in the stands. That way we can go back and set our defense, right? We're giving up live ball turnovers. So if you're thinking I might throw this away, just throw it up into the stands, and because you want to set your defense, you know. But yeah, again, I thought we were better offensively in the second half. The players were more cognizant about what we needed to do in terms of spacing, cutting, being a little bit more sure with the ball.
And when Bishop is in kind of the zone that he's in as a coach, do you have a package to help him? Does it just happen in a free flow? How do you
Yeah, we have
enhance
some
when he's
things,
there?
like out of timeouts and things like that, you know, but it's hard, like, with the way they defend, they don't let you really come out. They try to send you away from pick and roll, so it's not like you can put him in a lot of space. You can't get the ball sometimes exactly where you want to get it. It's really a guy's going to have to make some plays, and you know, having the ball in his hands in the right spacing is the best you can probably do against this type of defense.
You guys were going small, you know, without Hunter Dean.
A lot.
Lindo at the 5. Is this something you plan on moving forward? Was it more matchup based? And also, do you guys have an update on Hunter Dean, his possible availability?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I just, you know, he's going through, you know, this injury and hopefully, you know, back for a while. I would hope. Yeah, you know, like, we don't have that much ability to play small because of our 5 guards on the roster, right? If you consider Amir a guard, which he is, but he's certainly a guy who can play a few different positions, and Max, like, he's more of a wing than really a guard. So now we got 3 guards on the roster. So it's hard to play small and say, oh, they're gonna play with 4 guards. Like, do we have 4? I might have like 3.5, you know? So I would like to play smaller at times, you know, give ourselves that flexibility, but you know, we just don't have that much of an opportunity to do it. But we're gonna have to, and that's why, you know, developing the bench, developing minutes for some guys is important, because as I've joked about before, I have a plethora of front court players, and Keegan, he tweaked his ankle a little bit yesterday, so he was able to go today, but he wasn't quite right either. And so, you know, we're a little bit limited, but you try to just get creative as we can within what we have.
Henry?
Amir, at the end of last game and then at sort of at the second half of this game, has really come alive on defense, but
Yeah.
he's still a little shaky on offense. So what are you guys doing to sort of help him get in that rhythm?
I think you're trying to, 1, get him reps offensively, you know, and then 2, you know, try to help him simplify. You know, like when you simplify the way you play, hey, let's just play on 2 feet. You know, hey, let's just catch and shoot. Hey, let's think about being a cutter. Let's think about going to the offensive glass. You know, that kind of can help ease some of the, you know, I just think Amir's, with his injuries throughout the years, it's been very hard for him to get any offensive rhythm, and I'm really happy, knock on wood, he's been really healthy and been able to practice every day. You know, but when you get to this time of year, you're really not practicing that much. You're practicing, but we're on the court for 54 minutes yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really out there. So.
And then for Max, he had just a fantastic game.
I agree.
I guess, how's the perception of the game changing for his mind, and how is that affecting his play?
Yeah, I think when you're young and you're a freshman, I think you're very used to the game being played a certain way, and some of the mistakes you make are not that big of a deal. They're either not a big deal, or you don't get they don't have to make a play where it's like, oh man, I made that mistake and now I paid for it because the guy made a shot or whatever. You know what I mean? And so the biggest adjustment is guys understanding the urgency that you have to play with, and that if you touch the stove, you're gonna get burnt. Like, and it's like, no matter how many times you tell a guy, right, they kind of like to touch the stove. And so that's for all freshmen, not just Max. I think he's just going through a little bit of that, and you see it, and he has his moments, and he'll regress to the mean a little bit, and then he'll be, eventually get the mean up higher.
Yeah, so speaking of Max, you told us that you told him that you wanted him to be very aggressive on offensive rebounds.
Yes.
Was that something based on the opponent or
Yes.
just based on small ball?
Yeah, we thought, looking at the numbers and just watching Coppin, that they were susceptible a little bit on the offensive glass. The concern is when you're a top 20 team in the country in pace, which they were, right? If I send them at the 3, he played a little bit of the 4 time, but if they send him at the 3 and he goes to the glass, they run out. So it's that, like, you're in the casino trying to figure out, okay, what is this gamble going to be worth it, right? And so I think talking to the coaches, we decided it was, and I told them, listen, I want you to go a lot, and he got 5 of them. But look, if you don't get it, you got to then turn and sprint your butt back. Like, you got to be able to do both, and give great effort to do it.
As you said earlier, the defense did struggle a little bit in today's game. How will you and the team, what will you do in the future to improve this?
Yeah, we're spending a hell of a lot of time on it. I think if you came to practice and watched our practices, we're probably at this point 80-20. We have limitations. It is what it is. I mean, I think, first of all, we're playing 2 guys, tremendous amount of minutes, right? We have another guy, Ricky, that we're trying to, he's a terrific defender. You also got to be careful of his minutes and his foul trouble. And then we're playing, and EJ is a very good defender in his own right, but he's small. And we're playing then a lot of inexperienced guys who have not had to really play defense when the money was on the line. And that's hard. Like, I think you can only, we went through it last year a little bit in Miami, where we kind of went in the season thinking, like, we've got a very good offensive team, which we did. We were #1 offense in the ACC. And we looked at our defenders, and we're like, how are we going to be good defensively? And so we developed, over time, a defensive way of playing well enough, while also getting better. And then we go to the NCAA tournament, and until the second half of the Kansas game, we were the #1 points per possession defense in the NCAA tournament over, like, whatever it was, 4.5 or 3.5 games. So it's not a huge sample size, but it's against really good players. So I think that's what we're going to have to do. Like, we're just going to have to keep chopping wood on that and hope that we can get more experienced, a little bit smart. I need to be a little bit smart. Like, after we changed some things after San Diego about our pick-up point and things like that to try to make an adjustment, I think it was good. But we do have our limitations. Like, Hunter is a pretty good defender. He can block a shot. He can go get a defensive rebound. He's a reasonable pick-and-roll defender. Like, when you lose him, you're putting a more unexperienced guy out there who's never really been in the fire. So we're going to just have to deal with it.
One more for you.
Yeah. You spoke about the minutes. You're almost getting to the conference season.
Yeah.
When you having trust in your bench and being able to put them in those type of conference games, are they where you want them to be on a scale? I'm not saying right now, but as you ramp up for the conference season?
I think we're getting there. I do. I think we're getting there. It's hard. It's trust is the word, right? Trust is the word. There's nothing against anybody. It's just, can you trust that guy to do his job, whatever that job is? And often it's, hey, don't go out of yourself, right? But there are some things, like, should be able to do it, right? Should be able to defend your position. Should be able to block out and go get the ball with 2 hands. should be able to cut when you should cut, set a good screen, know what we're doing offensively, so you're not confused. You know, hey, can you make an open shot? Is there something you can bring to the table offensively? Maybe one thing, right, that can add value, be a value add. I think players have a hard time sometimes understanding that. You got to start with where can I add value? Do that, and then try to find more ways to add value. Not let me try to add value in 15 different ways. You know, and it's hard being on, like, I've been a bench player. Like, hey, you coming off the bench is like not easy. You know, a lot of times it's you're going in for like 3 minutes and you're coming out. It's hard, but life's hard.
Abe, I'll let you have the last one.
Thank you. I was going to say 31 out of the 61 shot attempts today were from three. Is that something that look to have moving forward, or is that no more of just how the game plan worked?
I think 50% is okay for us. You have to kind of look at it. I thought we got some clean. I thought today and against American, we got some pretty clean looking threes. I don't think there were many like forced ones. You know, the one guy that gets to take a little bit of a wild one every once in a while is JB. And, you know, you'd be silly not to allow that, right? Although you want him to be efficient, but everybody else, I think within themselves, I thought we got some good ones. I mean, I would like to find different ways to get the ball in the paint. I'm just having a hard time with it. We don't have drivers. We just don't.
All right, thanks everybody.
All right, thanks,
Happy
everybody.